What are we doing here? It's Wednesday night. It's a Wednesday night rundown, and if you're smart, you'll know the reason why. You can tell that's why I've got the suit on. Couldn't find a shirt, but that's because of the Uniball Playoffs. They've been confirmed. We know who's in. We obviously know who's out, but who do we think is going to win? That is also something we'll discuss. And also, in the small frame of time from Monday to Wednesday, there's more. There's more. The creme brulee. The creme brulee is being cracked, but we'll get into it all for the special Wednesday edition of the rundown. Steve, what would you like to lead with today?
Do you know what? I think we start. Let's start with the Leicester thing.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
do you want me to tee it up, or are you gonna?
No, I'll tee it up.
Go on then.
There's been some alleged things from Leicester. Now,
So Leicester Longhorns, right?
Leicester Longhorns. This is the differentiation. Leicester Longhorns, Div 1 Midlands, most likely coming back down to Midlands 2 next year. We're going to wait for the BAFA report to take the allegedly away, but allegedly they have had 2 players sent off from a game because they were ineligible. Now, it seems to be that...
this is as recent... This wasn't like somewhere diving back into the season because of the DMU thing. This happened Sunday. 2 players were like
allegedly.
Well, I don't know. I suppose we should say allegedly, but what I would say is we've been told this, and it will be confirmed in BAFRA's newsflash this week. Like that's how strong this is, right? But yeah, the gist of it is 2 players were playing for Leicester who weren't on the roster, and they were ejected from the game, which is the correct protocol. Obviously, I don't know. Under normal circumstances, do we pay much attention? But I think because of the other Leicester team, the MU just got points stopped. I think points stopped. Go on. Was it 3 games they got changed?
Yes, 3 games changed to a walkover, which is obviously a loss of 6 Bucks points. Taking their overall total down to 0 for the season. It's more so that it's funny because they're both Leicester teams, and it was more
Leicester in the senior league have had a checkered history of foul play, right? Alleged foul play. So it just seems that Leicester's the place where
there was someone who
the rules.
there was someone who commented on the old DMU post of just Leicester things.
Yeah.
And apparently that ran deeper than we knew.
And the thing is, I think we do need to give the benefit of the doubt here, in that we don't know the circumstances around why these players weren't on the roster. We don't know the same amount of information that we knew for DMU, which was that this lad was a ringer. He was playing middle linebacker. And he was 2 years since he'd left DMU. These 2 players, for all we know, could be some admin error. Leicester weren't winning any games this season, right? I think they lost every single game.
I believe they did.
So I don't think it's as I don't know, scandalous. Or at least we shouldn't lead with that. I think we should sort of give them the benefit of the doubt and be like, right. As best case scenario it's hilarious because it's Leicester again within the space of
that's
week,
why it's funny. Yeah,
but it's I don't. We shouldn't be getting our pitchforks out and chasing people around the village. Like it's just funny because Leicester's name come up. I think it's something that we need to find out. We need to wait and see what happens. From my experience with Bucks, they are very much they're very hardline with their rules. So, whether these ineligible players, it was an administrative error or not, I think the same outcome, may beget them, as in any games that they've played with these players might be put to 1-0 walkovers, which will probably improve their average points conceded record.
It probably will. It's The Taps Temple of Leicester. Unbelievable stuff.
But no, yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, just a funny thing to start off with, because the only reason I wanted to start with that, just because we've got other stuff that will take a little bit longer on. But yeah, sort of like a watch this space thing, something that kept flagged up to us. And just thought, because we're going live, we'll talk about it. But it's because it's Leicester, it's funny. And then we'll probably be back on Monday, I imagine, and that's when we'll have, because it's usually Monday that they release the
something like that,
isn't it? Yeah, so we'll jump on it then, and we'll start talking about it then, and see what is known and what isn't known. But as far as we know right now, it's 2 players ejected, both for not being on the roster. That was the wording, not on the roster, and I suppose disciplinary or penance pending. But yeah, hilarious because it's Leicester again.
Yeah.
It's a Leicester area team, not the same team.
Yes.
The Leicester area. So yeah.
Anyway,
cool.
In terms of news, we've got some rule changes from BAFA.
Do you want me to talk about those?
I do, because unless it's visors, I don't read it. I want to be alignment. I want to be alignment wearing a pitch black visor and looking real sweet.
So there's the rules that we want are never the rules that we get. So the rules that we want, visors, not having to worry about knee pads, knees being covered, and also being able to celebrate a touchdown without being flagged for taunting.
Don't make me sick, Steve.
It pisses me off.
People who do that are scummy.
So I read through. So BAFA, as they always do, like release the main things, and then there's a link to the actual all of the rule changes. And then I thought, I'll have a look at the links. I was waiting for you because you were asleep, and and
I was asleep.
There's an entire website dedicated to BAFA rules, which I wasn't aware of, and I clicked on that, downloaded this 200-odd page document, and what it does is it highlights in blue any changes to the previous year, so you can see everything that's been added or adjusted. And there's some quite interesting information in there that, for me, speaks to the mentality behind some of these changes. I want to I do want to get into that, but let me just I won't put it up on screen because it's probably the text is probably a bit small. But there's absolutely some agreeable stuff here. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, and I would say when we do get these rules, these rule changes each year, we're pretty much a year behind the NCAA. So they do something, and then it filters down to us.
Wait, does that mean I can get paid for my likeness now?
Yeah. So
yes.
And then we've got IFAF, who are the International Federation of American Football, who govern us as well. So they are BAFA answer to them in a roundabout way. And so, but they can push rules down essentially. So it's a combination of those sort of 3 bodies that decide the rules. I'd love to know, one thing I would love to know is how those rules are like suggested and voted for and decided, because that's never been clear. It's just like, here's the changes. I get the feeling that like some of this stuff is, I think the way that I look at it is like BAFA say this is what we need to do, and then BAFA say this is operationally how we can do it. Because some of these rules that they're talking about, they've got like plans for rolling them out over a couple of years, which is completely like understandable. It shows that there's there's a little bit of good, Nathan's popped up to say QMBL withdraw from Bucks game. Yeah, we know about that one, Nathan, thanks. We'll come to that. A panel of top IFAF officials meet. So yeah, cool. So yeah, I think BAFA do as best they can to make sure these rules are as like not as they don't interrupt the flow of the game or the flow of the the play and the leagues, and they try and sort of ease things in. So I think that's that seems evident in what I'm reading. And so first things like a lot of this is there's a lot of stuff that's sort of about raising standards that gets mentioned a lot. So and I would say most of those things like that covers a catch-all for most of those things that come under that category. First one's field markings. So they won't. There's a mandatory minimum 80-yard field now and a maximum of 100, obvious. But they're also going to have minimum and maximum end zone sizes and minimum and maximum widths of the field. Which like cool.
No,
happy with that.
No complaints. No complaints there.
They're also considering this one's mildly controversial, but again, interesting. I'm cool with it. They're considering increasing the minimum length of a field to 90. So no more 80-yard fields. Now that stitches up a lot of teams because they play on rugby fields, which are 100 yards post to post, which is why we end up with, 10 yards for the end zone. 20 yards for the end zones and then an 80-yard field.
Yeah.
Nathan just popped up and said 53 yards wide, end zones minimum 7 yards deep. Thanks, Nathan. So Nathan's a ref. He's popped up. I know.
Oh, perfect.
Ref. He just popped up to say that. So yeah. So thanks for letting us know. But yeah. I'm cool with that stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you know one thing I would like to see as well? Although I know this stitches up some teams, but I always think fucking this could really hurt someone. Is when they play on like an all-weather pitch and the end out the back of the end zone there's like a yard and then there's a fence.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
And I always think someone's just going to run into that fucking thing. Like, imagine you diving for a ball, catching, or just running.
Like, I play left guard. I don't imagine diving for a ball.
Think of the skill players, Tebbs. Think of the athletes. Okay. So I like, and I'm not trying to sort of like cause trouble, but that's something as a player that I always think of is like, yeah, okay, fair enough. That end zone's 10 yards, but you've got like 3 yards until you whack into a fence at the back of it. So maybe that's the next thing they'll try and do. Chris, hello, Chris. Chris has popped up. I said I've done that before. I've got scars on my elbows to prove it. Got tackled into one. Cool. There we go. I rest my case. So, and the next thing they've done, still would rather turf than grass. Yeah, I don't understand this. I've seen this. The NFL players say they don't want to play on turf. They just want to play on grass because a lot of them are doing ACLs. OBJ, unopposed knee injury in the Super Bowl final. It seems to have sort of resurfaced it. I prefer playing on turf as well. But on that point, what they've done is set a minimum standard for that. So 2G or earlier artificial surfaces have now been banned, which I think another applaudable, commendable. Yep. So it's 3G and up. I just think that makes sense. Like you don't want to be tackled on a carpet that's laid over a thin carpet laid over a block of concrete, right? Or the 2G, which was the water-based one, which you just kept slipping on, right? So like I'm cool with that. That's a good rule. I know it's going to probably, these rules are going to probably stitch people up, like or make people feel they're stitched up. But again, I just see it as like a standard raising within the game. Medical facilities. This one's a bit interesting, and I think this one's going to cause some headaches. No pun intended. But so they've they've initiated. I'll read this off. So we've initiated a series of changes to gently improve medical facilities over the next few years. So this is an example of them gradually making a change or making changes. So from this season, teams at the Premier level must each have their own first aider as well as the mandatory game medical cover. Now, it says since most teams have at least one first aid trained coach, this should be easy to resolve. But also, I think most teams, I can definitely speak at that Prem level, but I imagine in Div 2 and Div 1 now, a lot of teams that have like a physio on the sideline or someone that's like. So I don't know that this is going to be such an issue, but I just thought people might, that they might say, oh, well, we struggle to just get the medical cover, let alone getting someone to, help out. We just like. It's that constant thing of like, especially down in the lower leagues, like we just want to have a little bit of fun and play the sport. We don't want to take it that seriously. Teams need to ensure they have sufficient people trained to cope with absences. So it's not. There always has to be cover. It's not enough to say that someone just isn't here, so we don't have the cover. That rule will be extended to Div 1 for 2023 and Div 2 for 2024. So that's an example of them rolling that rule out. So Chris has asked, can a player be first aid qualified? I don't know. It doesn't specifically mention it in what Baffer have said. I am going to crawl through the, not live, but I'm going to crawl through the rule changes and have a look. I would imagine that you'd be ineligible as a first aid trained player. I can't sit here and justify why. Coach Rains has said not a player, so there we go. And cool. And then this one's when I saw player safety, I was like, oh, here we go. They're going to talk about player numbers. But this is genuine player safety. This is players on the field safety. And what they've done is they prohibited a defensive lineman from lining up opposite a long snapper on a kick play. So, I mean, I think everyone sort of was expecting this one to come. No big change. And then they put the rules. This one was a bit weird, right? And I think there might be a spelling mistake in this because when I read it, I was like, I didn't understand it. But so the rules about extra periods have been adjusted to reduce the length of any overtime. Cool. If a game goes into a second extra period and a team scores a touchdown, they must go for a 2-point try. Okay, cool.
Right.
Previously, this only applied from the third period. Cool. If a game goes into a third extra period, each period will now normally only consist of one play per team. I don't get that, and I think that I think this is a miss. I'm not going to really labour this because I think it's
okay, fine.
I think they've made a spelling error here, or because it doesn't make sense. Each period will now normally only consist of one play per team. And it says, which must be a 2-point try attempt from the 3. So I think they've messed up the wording of that. So I'll come back to that. And then it says, this is instead of an extra period starting with first down at the 25-yard line. Chris says it's a labyrinth of rules for overtime. Yeah. So the equipment stuff's quite funny. So one thing is that you're allowed to wear number 0 now. So we'll see players rushing out trying to be 0.
Yes.
So you're excited. You're a lineman. Would you wear 0?
No.
You can't, can you? Actually,
no.
as a lineman.
Why? That means I just got to lose weight and then start playing wide receiver. That's all it means.
Yeah, Taz said it means basically sudden death 2-point tries. Yeah, that's what I thought. But then why would they call it a period of overtime? I suppose is that just the phrasing they use? But okay, cool. So now you're allowed to play number 0. No 2 players can wear the same jersey number in a competitive game. We know that. And a player who plays 2 positions may wear 2 jerseys to facilitate changing over. The referee must be notified, which that's already there. This one's interesting. Was feigning injury. So and they do mention this hasn't been a problem in British games, but it has in parts of the US that players will feign injury to advantage their team. Give everyone a bit of a breather or some sort of tactical benefit to it. And now provisions to penalise it. There are provisions to penalise it directly and report it for disciplinary action if suspicions are around. I just don't know how can they enforce that. It's not like in soccer when someone
blatantly falls over,
rolls around like an idiot on the floor. I'm talking about a genuine that Chris Green's pleased with the 0. Yeah, I thought you would be, mate. Yeah, I don't really know how they're gonna test that out or enforce it or whatever. So, but there's obviously a problem. It's really not for us, I don't think. I need to go to acting classes. Do you know what? So I used to work at Portsmouth Football Club for a number of years, and there was a bloke who his lad was a really good football player. He was one of the executives. They used to pay loads of money to watch the games and all that, and get a meal and everything. And I was chatting to him about his lad, and his lad went for trials with Arsenal and got in. So he was with Arsenal's under 12s or something, and he had his first training session. And came back and he said to his dad, his dad was like, oh, how did it go? Because his dad loved his football. How was it? What'd you do? He's like, yeah, it's good. Yeah. We did. We spent we spent the first part of the session doing diving. Arsenal's under 12 training. They dedicated 45 minutes of how to dive convincingly. And his dad got his dad was obviously livid, and he was telling us about it. But yeah, so I just hope it doesn't come to that in our sport, although I can't ever see that happening. There's some other minor changes. So coaching boxes and team areas are now stretched another 5 yards, so they go to the 20-yard line. This one's weird, but jersey numbers must be centered on the back and front. No logo must appear within 1 inch of the numerals. This will help identification everyone on the field by spectators and on video. Teams whose current uniform does not comply must make sure their replacement uniforms do. So it doesn't give a time period. It's just saying when you replace, when you next replace your uniforms, you can't have the jersey in the way. And then this one kills me, this one. And this is one I wanted to get. So any T-shirts or jerseys that hang below the waistline should be tucked in. This is in the rules now. So, and I know it's quite common for players to have like just their ass, part like the tail of their jersey hanging out. And I remember years ago, Blitz had like a hashtag for the playoffs that they put on it, and pretty much every player did that. Hope they allowed. No, they're not allowing. Drones can be used, but only with express permission, Tony. So, yeah, I don't think it's. I don't mean that one's worked in there. But yeah, I just like, and I am going to come back to this because this was a rule that I read about when I looked at when I downloaded that 200 odd page document, because I don't think that they've got the right approach for that. Because I was thinking, what does it matter? What does it matter if you like? Do you know what I mean? Like, what, are they going to do that with hair next? Are they going to say, well, your hair can't hang out now? Like, I just don't see what the problem is with the jersey being untucked. It just seems really weird. They talk. There's rules about prosthetics, which, yeah, they can't. They're allowed, but they can't give an advantage or disadvantage, which is fine. Yeah, next, helmet decals won't be allowed with 1 inch of the cage. Yeah. The targeting rule has been tweaked to raise the level of certainty about whether a foul occurred before a player gets disqualified. I don't understand what that means, so I'm going to have a look through the rules about that, because I think targeting is targeting, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know what tweak they would make to raise the level of certainty. This one's funny. This one's ridiculous, and I don't see how they're going to enforce it, because from my knowledge, pre-game the refs are tucked away. They're probably not even there, and you see them. They come out, I don't know, 10 minutes before kickoff, do their little bits, and then they go. Now they've got rules for the refs that say pre-game warm-ups must be supervised by a coach, and during that time, players must be identifiable by number in case any disciplinary issues arise. So you've got to have, and interestingly, most game teams I've played on, if we have gone out, we actually put our game jersey on without our shoulders first, right? So like not a big issue, but to have it in the rules, and that's enforceable. So now imagine you just stood there with like your teammates pre-game, hour and a half before the game, and the ref comes up to you like, "Are you one of the players for this team? You need to have your number on you, mate." Like, you feel like, what?
No, I always
go back to your unlocked changing room before someone steals something.
Honestly, I put my jersey on last, absolutely last. I'm not.
So the rule book contains diagrams showing how two teams can share a field safely. No, this is another one. No team can approach the midfield line except during kicking warm-ups. So what they're trying to do is prevent teams shit talking to each other before a game. And like, again, I say that's sort of part of it. Like, if you know someone that's on the other team,
yeah,
and you're like, you're they're in earshot of you. You shout a couple of bits at them, don't you? And have a laugh. Or God forbid you cross over that line and go and say hello to them. Like this is like, I think this is really ridiculous. And I would say unenforceable. It's of course enforceable, but do our refs really want to be involved from warm up?
The refs stood there with an air rifle waiting for anyone to
lobbing a flag. Imagine getting flagged and you just
setting up barbed wire across the 50-yard lines. No one can cross it.
Yeah. Right. So quarters can be extended if there's a foul on a successful field goal attempt or an illegal touch violation. All personal fouls during a try or in an extra period can be enforced. Penalties can carry over into extra periods. If there are more than 11, so this one's interesting. If there are more than 11 players on defense before a snap, this won't be a foul unless the ball is snapped, except it will cancel a delay of game. A delay of game by the offense. So if the offense is sort of like being nice and waiting for someone to run off, I don't know why they would do that. But if they can't incur a delay of game if the other team have got 12 on the field. That's what they're saying.
Yeah. Okay.
In games played with instant replay, more plays have been classed as reviewable, and there are new provisions to stop the offense gaining advantage by calling for a review as time of the game runs out. Again, it's not specific enough that for me. Like, it's, but fair enough. It was just a rundown of it.
Yeah.
So the one bit I just want to come back to. Oh yeah. So there's specific rules about, like everyone's seen it. A coach steps onto the field, like, and starts trying to talk to the ref. They're upset about something. Not necessarily abusing the ref, but just like, bit maybe fiery or even just asking him something. That is now in the rules as like, you're not encouraged not to enter the field, and if you leave the team area to debate officiate decisions, you will have committed an automatic unsportsmanlike conduct foul. So that's going to be interesting to see that get enforced. Right, what else is there that I wanted to bring up? It's the uniform bit. Right, here it is. So I'm going to read the whole thing out because I think when you read it, you sort of, like I said, you get into the sort of mindset that they've got when they come up with this rule. There is a growing trend in the game with players choosing not to wear their uniform and or required equipment properly. It is the responsibility of the team to ensure that the equipment uniform rules are understood and followed by the players. The responsibility of officials is to enforce the rule when any player is clearly non-compliant. For 2022, all officials will be alert to players that wear their pants and knee pads significantly above the knee and prepared to take action. So they've called out the bit that I actually said at the beginning. In addition, compliance to the jersey rule is important, and officials noticing players out of scope with the rule should get this corrected or send the player out of the game. This also includes t-shirts, a t-shirt that is untucked and hanging below the top of the pants. So that's sort of just reinforcing it. This is the next bit that I was like, because it starts with the intent with this point of emphasis. I was like, okay.
Steve, I know what's happened here.
You need to listen to this.
No, you know. Okay, fine.
Tell me what you want to say.
I know what it is. I think the refs have got sick of linemen, specifically me, showing my arse crack, and they've decided to clamp down on linemen showing their arse crack. They don't want to see it. That's why. That's the reason why.
I don't know. So this next paragraph, I was like, oh, this is the justification piece. The intent with this point of emphasis is not to distract officials or make them overly involved in equipment monitoring. Oh, that's nice. But to encourage officials to act when players are blatantly disregarding the rules involving uniform. Pre-game warm-ups and dead ball periods are a good time to be proactive with players concerning the uniforms and equipment. So the way that I read this, they said the intent of this is not to distract the officials. So the intent of this rule is not to distract the officials. Fine, but the intent of the rule is to encourage officials to act when players are blatantly so the rule is there to make sure that the players aren't disregarding the rule. So it's a rule for the sake of having a fucking rule, as far as what I can tell. And that's the bit that really pissed me off about it when I read it. Because prior to that, I was like, I didn't like it. I don't see how I don't think it's right to sort of say you can't have a shirt hanging out. It's your uniform, right? If someone grabs it, then fucking tough shit, Same with the hair. But to say we've got this rule and we now want you to enforce it because we've got the rule is just ridiculous. And it completely contradicts what they said about we're not trying to distract the officials or make them overly involved in equipment monitoring. Well, if you don't want them overly involved in equipment monitoring, don't have a fucking rule added that gets them to monitor their equipment in pre-game and dead ball periods. Like, it's so
fucking
stupid.
No, I know what you mean in terms of like it being like fair play. If you wear a t-shirt under your pads, it gets ripped.
Yeah,
That's your fault. I remember there was someone when at Lincoln, I forget his name. He genuinely got really quite aggressive towards someone else because they ripped the hoodie he was wearing under his pads. Don't wear it under your pads.
yeah,
You've sacrificed that hoodie to the ether by wearing it under your pads. There you
yeah.
go.
Your jersey's your jersey, man. Like, yeah. Like, I mean, sorry, not your uniform's your uniform. It's fucking fair game, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But so anyway, like, so just a couple of comments coming while I was going off and reading all that stuff out. Lewis said he does a separate warm up for his shoulders as a QB. Does that mean he needs supervision? Yeah. And then Chris popped in with free the knee. Yeah, the free the knee campaign when that. So yeah, we had the knee thing. Like, I think it was last year or the year before, probably the year before now. And now this, I just don't get it. I just think it's ridiculous. Like it feels like militant almost, like the army saying you got to dress in a certain way. Like just fuck off and let me celebrate a touchdown. Like I think they're really getting a bit OTT with that. I think that's a step in the wrong direction. I'm going to read through the rest of the stuff, but that's in the short time I've had to prepare for this, that's what I looked at. And back to you, Tebbs.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it means it is that time where, God, how many 16 weeks of hard work by the Uniball players has come down to this, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Uniball playoffs. They've all been confirmed by Bucks. So we are going to talk about them top to bottom. We have already discussed our picks for the Prem because they were easily work outable because that's just how the Prem works. But Div 1 and Div 2 have been confirmed. I believe Steve's going to get a lovely graphic up for me. Oh, you can go through that.
Sorry, can I just go back and answer this question and I'll get the graphic up?
Of course you can.
So Chris, there's a celebration rule, essentially excessive what they deem as excessive celebrating or a celebration that taunts the opponents is a flag, is unsportsmanlike. But also it's like they also judge it on the number of players that celebrate it, and that it's on the field. So like I always joke that if I ever scored, I'd just run off to the sideline and just go nuts with everyone there. But let me read out the paragraph on it because there isn't a new paragraph in that for this. Unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting. Currently, the Rules Committee is satisfied that the solid judgment that officials are demonstrating, evaluating celebration issues, and this focus will continue. For the 2022 season, it will be a point of emphasis for officials to penalise any taunting action that is directed at an opponent. These actions are a bad look for the game and can lead to unnecessary confrontations between teams and must be eliminated. The pre-game warm-up rules have been modified recently to ensure proper sportsmanship for our contests. Officials should be vigilant during the pre-game whenever players are on the field. Unsportsmanlike acts before the game are detrimental to the sport and must be cleaned up. So this is... Oh, Tebbs, I think I lost you. Yeah, no more than 4. I thought it was 3, but whatever. Like, just ridiculous. Imagine you're playing and a D or an O lineman pick up a fumble, recover a fumble, and take it in for 6. Don't tell me that the whole team aren't going to celebrate that with him. Of course they are. Like it's like the refs have never played not even just this game, but ever played any fucking game ever that you're allowed to get excited about if you do something good. Not the refs, it's the people that write the rules. The refs are just enforcing it, but that's fucking stupid. Yeah, Karen definitely wrote. It's just shit. It's a joke. Common sense should prevail. Yeah, it's like everyone I speak to, even the refs, like have got the same opinion of this stuff. But it just somehow doesn't make its way from like normal life to the top of this white tower that is the BAFA Rules Committee or IFAF or NCAA. It's just a bunch of fucking idiots that are trying to get us to play in a non-emotive way and not be. It's like they don't want you to be competitive or have any energy or passion about it. I just think it's wank. So Anyway, back to you, Tebbs. Let me get that graphic up.
So we've been through the Prem playoffs. I believe there wasn't much in terms of differentiating opinion between me and Steve. Bullets versus Klansmen, Nottingham Gold versus the UEA Pirates, Leeds Beckett Carnegie versus the Cardiff Cobras, and the Birmingham Lions versus the Durham Saints. I believe we both had the bullets, both had the gold. I think I forget what we had for Leeds, Beckett, Carnegie versus Cardiff. I have the Birmingham Lions. Steve has the Durham.
Yeah,
There you go.
I went Leeds Beckett. I think. Do you know what? I like Cardiff. I think they've done really well to stay up in their first season in the Prem, but I just can't see them getting better of Leeds Beckett.
In that case, then the only one we have a differentiating opinion on is Birmingham versus Durham, and hopefully I'll be there. I'll be able to give you my actual thoughts on it. So, into Division 1. Let's just run through them and then we'll talk about them afterwards. You got the Newcastle Raiders versus the Manchester Tyrants, the Nottingham Trent Renegades versus the Edinburgh Predators, the Loughborough Students versus Warwick Wolves in a very nice Midlands 1 rematch. Sheffield Hallam Warriors versus the Sheffield Sabres.
A Sheffield varsity derby, whatever they want to call it.
Playoff varsity derby altogether. It's going to be a great time. Then you got the SGS Pride versus the QMBL Vipers. Or you did have that. That game has been changed to a walkover. SGS Pride go straight up. They get a week off. The Brunel Burners versus the Hertfordshire Hurricanes. The Royal Holloway Bears versus the Exeter Demons. And last but by no means least, the Imperial Immortals versus the Portsmouth Destroyers. So let's get into the one big one there. SGS Pride, QMBL. It's a playoff walkover. What? We don't know why, but that is what has happened here.
So the information I've got is that this was at QMBL's request, but no reason as to why.
Well, it's realistically, we hope everything's all right at QMBL. It's a shame, but I think SGS Pride having a week off.
I think the sort of the knee-jerk reaction here is to say, well, they just didn't want to face the Pride, But we can't confirm or deny that, but it just doesn't look good for QMBL. I don't know what. I know there are definite penalties for taking walkovers in playoffs, like fines. I need to read up on that stuff actually, but it's in the hundreds of pounds that the uni gets fined for that. So it's. I know that Bucks look down on it massively. They don't want this sort of stuff to happen. But anyway, so should we go and look? Should we do some predictions on the other games?
We certainly should. Let's start with the Newcastle Raiders versus the Manchester Tyrants.
I don't like discounting the Tyrants, right? Because I think they are a very solid team. I think Newcastle will go into the final.
Yes, so do I.
Yeah. So in order to do that, I believe they're going to beat not only Manchester but anyone else that's in their way, and it will be a Newcastle Pride final. But So I like I said, I don't want to sort of brush over the Manchester Tyrants because they do pull some big wins out of the bag when needed. But I just can't see past Newcastle winning that.
No, neither could I. So, any Manchester Tyrants in the crowd, you can have a go at us. Literally, our opinion, unbelievable. So, Nottingham Trent Renegades versus the Edinburgh Predators. This will be interesting. This is a lot more of a game where I don't know.
It's another tough one to call. Yeah, I feel compelled to side with the Predators.
And this thing is, I feel compelled to side.
But didn't NTU beat Loughborough away in about 2 weeks? Like that's a big game. That's a big result.
Like that was the first loss for Loughborough.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with Edinburgh. I don't want to, but I can see that one swinging either way.
God, I'm just for argument's sake, just because I don't know. I'm going to go with Nottingham Trent.
Okay. Cool.
So Loughborough versus Warwick.
Another.
See, I was there for the game where they played at Warwick, and it was very, very, very interesting. It's like obviously Warwick are in the playoffs. They're not a bad team, and it was 12-13, but it was a tale of two halves. In the first half, Loughborough could get nothing going. In the second half, Warwick really couldn't get anything going. Do you know what? I want to say that Warwick pull off the old upset here.
So I'm going Loughborough, and the reason I'm doing that is not because of the result of the game that you watched, but the feedback you gave me, right? In that Warwick would like you said, all guns blazing, scoring, couldn't be stopped, and then the second half they just ran out of gas, and I think what you've described will happen again. I can't see them getting past that. if you're a team that runs out of gas, you run out of gas. Loughborough, as a uni, right? That you've got to be an athlete to even go there, right? So like they don't have a problem of people running out of gas, like, you know, and they're a good skilled team. But I believe Warwick are probably a better skilled, better drilled team, but they just don't have they don't have it in the, you know, don't have the engine to go through all 4 quarters at that level of intensity they need. So I think a very similar tale of Warwick probably getting the rub of the field in the first half, and then Loughborough just taking over and winning that game.
See, I just got hope for Warwick. I just got that was such an interesting game to watch, and again, very close. But I think it very well is going to come down to that last quarter.
Yeah,
maybe in the last 5 minutes, that last quarter. Moving on, we've got Sheffield Hallam versus Sheffield Sabres.
I think they've played each other twice this year.
They certainly have.
And I think Hallam pretty much convincingly won both games.
Yeah, I believe that was also the case.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going Hallam.
Yep. And then moving on to the south, you know, don't have to worry about QMBL versus SGS Pride. Brunel Burners,
another. It's these 4v5s. They're just so close, and you'd expect it, right? But it's the 4v5s, and I think it was the same in the Div 2 ones when we looked at them. I just don't. I could toss a coin, you know, and I might even do that. I don't have any coins, but who do you? I'll go with who you don't go with, Tebbs. How about that?
That's fine. I know Hertfordshire, obviously they're trying to get back to the Prem. That's what they want. That's what everyone wants. But they've come down. Brunel, I think they've just got something a little bit something more. They've got a little bit. They're definitely, you know, I think their defenses are very stifling. So in terms of this, I'm going to stick my neck out and I'm going to go with Brunel.
Okay.
Brunel.
Well, home field advantage as well, although not much of an advantage. You know, Brunel and Hertfordshire are pretty close together, but
yeah,
you know, a little trip around the M25. But yeah, okay, I'm a Hertfordshire boy for this one then. Well, come on, this next one.
No, we're going to do that one last. That's the last of Div 1. So we're going to go for Royal Holloway Bears versus the Exeter Demons.
This is going to be a close one, and I'm going to be at this game. And oh my god, that's an interesting one from Russ, but I'll come back to that. Exeter, I think I put them on a par with Manchester Tyrants. Like, they're just one of them teams that just pull out great results, and that could be the case here. But I'm going to go with the Bears. Well,
that's very interesting because I'm going to go with Exeter.
Okay, cool. That's good. That
so
makes it exciting. The reason I'm going with the Bears, most likely just because they're my local team. Like, I live quite close, so I'm going to go to the game. I don't want them to beat me up. They'll know what my car looks like. They'll follow me home. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's safer.
Well, Steve, speaking of people not wanting to get beaten up while going to games, it's the Portsmouth Destroyers versus the Imperial Immortals, which is why, because they know that I'm coming, because I'm a man of my word, I'm going to go with the Portsmouth Destroyers.
See, I think you're letting the side down here by going with Portsmouth. You're not giving them a reason to win.
Oh, that was it. That was on Monday, wasn't it? Yeah. So Portsmouth, I want you to know something, that I'm doing this out of the kindness of my own heart for you. Imperial Immortals.
I'm going to smash you.
Yep, they're going to.
You got to give them the sound clip. You got to give them the sound clip, mate.
Oh, I don't know. Shall I say goodbye to Portsmouth again?
Yeah, come on.
No, because I'm genuinely worried that they're going to beat the shit out of me. But for just for continuity's sake, Portsmouth, just so that you can all spit on me as you walk out of Imperial the Imperial Immortals home ground. Come on, Imperial! Come on, Imperial!
Because there is my hometown, I'm going with Portsmouth.
That's fine.
This one's interesting. Russ has just said he heard a rumour that Jim Messenger's back as head coach of the Hurricanes. I hope not. I hope that prick is fucking out of football forever. Fucking absolute waste of space. But yeah, cool. Cheers for letting us know, Russ. Right, let's go. Let's do North next. North 2.
So we're moving on.
I've added this. Sorry, just to let you guys know, this game is actually being played in Edinburgh, and this game is actually being played at Nottingham. So it's not a home. It's not home field advantage for Staffordshire, but yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to the best division in the world, Division 2. Only these teams are left in the north. First of all, we're going to start with the Mmu Eagles versus the Uclan Rams. Now, for me, the Uclan Rams were very hot at the start of the year. They've sort of petered out. Well, the Mmu Eagles have been heating up. For me, I don't see why that's not going to change. I'm going to go with Manchester Metropolitan here.
Yeah, me too.
Yep, and then we've got now. This is an absolutely delicious game.
I know.
Edinburgh and Napier Knights versus the Liverpool.
It's another 4v5. It's the 4v5s, mate.
Oh.
They're tasty. I'm going Napier, but I think maybe I just like Edinburgh teams because I went with the Predators as well. But I'm going with Edinburgh. I know that leaves me open to to a soundbite post and everyone screenshotting stuff and saying that we're shit. Hopefully you go Liverpool to balance it out, but I'm going Napier for this.
You know that I can't pick Liverpool for this. Napier have been the most dominating team in Division 2.
Yeah.
They're now facing.
Didn't concede a point, is that right?
Did not concede a point. Yeah. Unfortunately, obviously, Glasgow Uni versus Edinburgh, Napier Knights didn't make all my dreams come true. But we can have it here versus Liverpool Raptors, and I'm going to stick with Napier. Now,
so Napier, being the 4th seed, that means they were the best second place team, and they do not get promoted to Div 1.
Nope.
Oh, that's got to be painful for them.
Yeah, I imagine that it is.
Not being scored against all season, having that type of a dominant season, and then not getting the rewards at the end. So I think they're going to have a bit of a bee in their bonnet. Do you know what I mean? I think they got something to prove, and I hope they think like that.
Honestly, like if in a world where the Lincoln Colonials don't exist, the Glasgow Uni Tigers versus the Edinburgh Napier Knights could be the final. However, Glasgow Uni Tigers versus the Lincoln Colonials, Lincoln Colonials, everyone's Lincoln Colonials.
So I'm going Glasgow.
Of course you are. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I've got to back the side.
Of course,
I've got to back the side. Honestly, I would go up there if I hadn't already promised my heart to Portsmouth, but there we go.
You just have to catch them in the semi-final, wouldn't you, mate?
That's what I've said to him. I'll see you next week.
Okay.
So in a game which is very, 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 very interesting, it's Staffordshire versus Nottingham again. Yeah. Now Nottingham beat Staffordshire 13-0 the last time they met. Not last Sunday, the Sunday before.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. I think that's very interesting. I think that I like Green. I like both these teams quite a lot, but I think that Staffordshire aren't going to take that taking laying an egg particularly well, and I think that Staffordshire are going to come back. I genuinely do.
But does the new information of this now being a home game for Notts not change your view of it?
It doesn't. No.
Me either. I think Staffordshire are going to win this one. I think Notts have done well. To get to the playoffs in their first year of existence as a second team. The same with
it's not their first year of existence.
Is it not? Oh, it's the Bullets. Is it not? Is it the Bullets too that are in their first year?
It could be because I know that we played Nottingham Green in my last season with the Colonials.
Cool. Oh, anyway, well, still as a second team to get to the playoffs is
decent, it's very good.
But
you have to say like good things. Obviously, everyone knows good things about Nottingham and Uwe, but both of their second teams have reached the playoffs.
Yeah.
Both of them.
It's commendable. Yeah. So I'm going to go Staffordshire for that. I don't like. I'm not a Nottingham hater or anything. I actually really like Nottingham as a program. I think they're awesome. But I can't see past Staffordshire winning this one.
Okay. I feel exactly the same way. So moving on to the south, we're going to start with the Oxford Lancers versus the Greenwich Mariners. It's got to be Lancers, surely. They've pulled their finger out.
I had Greenwich as like the dark horse of of the playoffs, right? Because like they had a couple of very impressive wins, like shut out 50 burgers, and I like that about them, that they can put up points. But I know that I've heard that their team they've got quite a lot of injuries. So I know that Oxford are a very decent side, so I can't see past Oxford beating them. But I think if Greenwich Mariners were like full strength, I'd probably side with them. But I think Oxford are going to take this one.
So then moving on to the Kcl Regents versus the Brighton Panthers. I think that's a tough game. I think
it's another tough one. Yeah. I'm going to go KCL.
Well, in that case,
I'm basing it on. I'm not basing it on much. I'm basing it on them having home field advantage. Really, I think Brighton are quality, and I think they're very capable of getting an away win here. But I'm going to go with the home team.
Well, in that case, just to spice it up, I'm going to go with Brighton Panthers because razor's edge thinly. Now onto one where obviously I've got a favourite here. No, I'm not even going to deny it. The Kent Falcons versus the Oxford Brooks Panthers. Obviously, I've said that I want to go watch some Oxford Brooks football at some point, but it's too late in the season now. Hope maybe. So I'm going to go with Oxford Brooks.
Okay. I'll oppose you. I'll go with Kent on this one. Home team. I'm taking all home teams. I'm definitely going to go for Bournemouth as well. And the reason why is because I love Coach Rains. I played with him for years, played for him for years. He's gone to Bournemouth in his first season, won the league. The guy's just a winner. He's an out and out winner. I'm not discounting any opponents, but I can't look past the magic of Coach Rains and Bournemouth Bobcats winning that.
Well, I'm going to go with the same. Bournemouth went undefeated. And don't get me wrong, the Bullets 2's journey is good. It's credible. They've done well to get where they are, but I think it's going to be a bit too much for them here against the Bobcats. So, in terms of playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. And then I've got
to go very quickly. I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Well, I was going to
keep everything busy because I've got something in here that I wanted to show you. But give me
go on. So while Steve goes and prepares his whatever he's preparing, obviously it's been a long journey. There'll be articles coming out, focusing on all of these lovely winners we've got here, and then focus on those people who've they're going down. So you're being relegated, ladies and gentlemen. There's been, obviously Leeds Griffins, Leicester Longhorns, Reading Knights. I'm not sure who else from Southwest 1 is also going down. That's something that I will have to check. But, ladies and gentlemen, come on. It's been a good Uniball season. It's had its ups. It's had its downs. But this is why you do it, isn't it? For the playoffs. Now, we've already sort of discussed who we think is going to win each division. Bullets, Gold, Raiders, Pride, Napier Knights, and probably Bobcats for me. I'm getting ready to eat my words. And also, anyone watching from Portsmouth, I didn't mean that. He made me say it, all right? He made me be rude. All right, just remember that when, if you see me, I'm going to, instead of wearing something silly, like my glasses, I'm going to wear something nondescript so you can't tell it's me. There you go.
So yeah, I watch TikTok a lot, right? I love TikTok. And I'm watching, there's been like a spike in videos that have turned up on my feed of people trying these like smelling salts that apparently like are unreal. Super like, so what's his name? Is it Eddie Hearn? No, not Eddie Hearn. The Beast.
Eddie Bravo. Eddie Hall.
Eddie Hall, the strong man. He's got his own brand, and I was and like he showing people like doing it, and I was like, it can't be that bad. And then they're different grades. So I went online and I went to buy them, and I thought, let me see if there's, like reviews and other ones. And so I found this other company, and I went on their website, and I bought these, and they just arrived yesterday. and there was 3 different grades of them, and they're called Cerberus. These are called Hades Hellfire. These are like their top level. These were like 20 quid, right? Now
it's bad when you can interchange the like names of hot sauces with smelling salts, but
yeah. Well, and the thing is, right, and it's got like a warning about how can cause death, apparently. So now already this tells me that like the videos I saw may be a bit bullshit, because the guys were like, when they were holding the smelling salts that they had, they were like, "Oh, I can smell it from here," and they had the cap on, right? And they said it could still smell it. I can't smell anything, right? So I just wanted to sort of do like this.
Are they the ones you got? Are they the ones you got to crack and then?
No, you just smell them. But I can see it. Fucking hell.
Do you feel alert, Steve? Do you feel awake?
Oh my god. I think I put my nose too close to it. Fucking hell. That's all it is, isn't it? I don't know if you can see it on there. That's all that is. Poor. Anyway, yeah, so that I don't get it though, like I mean, it's making my nose run. I don't understand why people do that before they lift weights. After I did that, I didn't think, oh, I should go and now lift some fucking weight. I was like, I just want to get away from it. But yeah, there you go. They are really strong. So I've just tried to test them out for you. I might do a little giveaway and like a free giveaway, and someone can win these. Yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to add to the stream. Fucking
perfect.
Hell. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Tebbs, you got anything you wanted to say?
No, that's it. Just ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the playoffs, and we will catch you back here on Monday where we will go through the winners, the losers, who's in, who's out, who's going forth. Say goodbye to. It's the people who are being relegated.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. We'll see you guys on Monday and bring you all of the fantastic Uniball action. And I'll give you a rundown of the rules and another rant probably, because it pisses me off.
Probably.
Definitely, because I'll read something that trigger me and then I'll fucking stew over it for 2 days and then I'll explode on stream. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers, Tebbs. See you soon. God.
See you later, guys.
Oh.